I'll go ahead and call it. Like I said, we do have a quorum with 3 out of 4 members. Your notice was posted at the front entrance on Sunday. You guys were sent out a copy of last month's meeting minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, we got them.
Okay.
Right.
Are there any corrections or is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to waive the reading and approve as written.
All right, do I have a second?
I second that motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Let's see, for your financials, at the end of April, in your operating account, you had $156,098.92. That amount does include the $50,000 that was put into.
Good.
Then your reserves at the end of April was $22,960.67 for a total of $179,061.59. See, I sent you guys out, or with your financials, you got a copy of the aging report as well.
Sherry, can I ask you a quick question before we leave the actual balances? What month do we pay the second half of our POA? Is it June or July?
June.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
coming out this month. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then aging report, we have 4 that are quite past due. All of those are with the attorney with pending lawsuits. And then anyone that is coming up to that 90 days will be sent for collections. Are there any questions other than the one Dan just had on financials?
No, I think you answered the question we were going to ask, because I do see a few that are in that 90-day window. And I remember we talked about it before, so you answered that question already.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for doing that. Appreciate it.
Not a problem.
I also know that 1511 La Maderia, we are going to, we chose not to do a settlement, so we're moving forward with that. There's no settlement on that.
Correct.
And then on 1691 Los Palmos, is there a lien on that property?
6091, I believe so. I believe
'Cause-
all of our past dues that are in the thousands have liens on the property, or I know there's one that's in process. It may be that one.
Yeah, because that's the one that also is in foreclosure as well, because they made a note to that about that to us.
Yes, so that one, yeah, so they were waiting on the association to proceed, which will, so then it will be,
Okay.
there'll be a mortgage foreclosure as well as a foreclosure on the association.
All right, and then the other one I had a question on was that 1744 La Maderia. I guess they said they had made a partial payment to the office and that they were disputing that. Do we know anything about this?
Yes, we're waiting on them to produce documentation.
Okay, so we're still waiting on that.
Correct.
Okay.
They didn't have chocolate marshmallow. They were happy.
They didn't have hot fudge.
That's something when I asked. She said,
Can anyone who is not board members mute their mics, please? Thank you. All right, any other questions on financials?
Last month we had talked about it slightly, and I know that you had already sent out the letters and stuff, but I'll use 1660 Sawgrass as an example, that their 90 days are at $1,000 and that we know that they're a rental. Did you get a response back kind of confirming that from your letters that you had sent out, and at least basically saying that you have a copy of their lease, and or should we now allow the attorney to somehow or another write a letter to intercept their rent payment to get our $1,000, or what do we want to do on that?
Well, 1660 is a little bit of a different case because their $1,000 is not from past dues. That's from a fine that they have.
Okay. And so because of that, we can't approach it from the grabbing the rent perspective.
I've not gotten a clear answer on that, but from what I'm understanding, it is not the same.
I assumed it wasn't, and that's why I'd always kind of said it would really be great if on our aging report, there was one column that told us exactly what that balance is that are fines versus, sitting there, so that we could make better decisions when we look at these. Because I would guess by looking at this, my guess is that 1,000 of that is a fine and 9353 is past dues. That would be my guess.
Correct.
So
I thought that Mary did. I could have sworn one financial report came out and she had them separated. But I'll bring it up to her again.
okay, and then the only other thing from the agent.
Hey, Dan, you froze.
Well, while he handles that, anyone else?
I think
Yeah.
it may be bandwidth issues.
Yeah, we do have a new renter, actually, across the street from me, there's a new renter in there, so I have to send you that address, Joyce, so maybe you could send you can get that information if you don't have it already.
Okay.
And then there's another rental property that was down the street, they just moved out, so I know they'll be getting new people in there.
Okay.
So I'll just email you those addresses so you can keep that
Perfect.
logged as well, okay?
Thank you.
You're
Dan,
welcome.
you had cut out, so I'm not sure what you were saying.
All right, I'll try again. Now that there's everything's moving again. RV spot 3, they have a past due. Did you go ahead and send them a letter to get current yet?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Anyone else for financials? Means Louisa, you're up for ARC.
Oh, how about that? It's a long list, so be ready.
You're just gonna email it to me, right?
Yeah, I am gonna email it to you, but you want me to, I'm just gonna blab them off right now.
Perfect.
So the end of April, 1693 La Maderia, that one was a roof. And then for the month of May so far, we have 1737 La Maderia with a roof. 1752 Sawgrass painted their home. 1690 Sawgrass, they put new door and gutters. 1733 Los Palmos screen room extension. I did call that one, by the way, since I'm talking about extensions. 1620 La Maderia painting the outside. 1768 Los Palmos shutters. 1604 La Maderia shutters. 1748 Los Palmos patio extension, and then 1796 Sawgrass a roof. Okay,
Awesome. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Anyone have any questions? You said you contacted the guy that you guys were going back and forth about the screen enclosure?
Yeah, and I did let him know that it was a regular discussion that we were having, and it hasn't really been decided, but I did talk to him and let him know, where we were at and everything. So he was
Okay.
totally cool with everything and appreciated it.
Yeah, no, he's a nice guy.
Yep.
All right, awesome. Anyone have any questions for ARC? All right, I guess we will move on to old business. First up is the electronic sign. We did order the sign. It did arrive. It arrived damaged. So Dan actually facilitated getting it sent back. I'm not sure if you got an update on when it was going to arrive back to us.
I did not get the tracking number, but he did say he shipped it 2 days ago. So it is in transit and it takes about a week to get here from California. So I expect it late this week, hopefully.
Awesome. All right. Next is the pool pavers. I did sign the contract with Surfside Pavers for them. They did uphold their original proposal. I'm just waiting to get on their schedule. They were booking about 4 to 6 weeks out. We're almost at the 4-week time. So I did shoot him a message to see if he could give me kind of an approximate as to when he can get a schedule. I haven't heard back yet from him. So as soon as he responds, he did let me know that his words were, they were very fortunate to be extremely busy. So he did apologize for the delay.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, when we get the date, it's just nice to have that, not so much for us, but to at least let Tom know, since he comes 2 days a week to
Yeah.
clean the pool. So at least we can give him a heads up on that.
Well, that, and since it's summer, we'll be able to hopefully post a little bit and notice that the pool
Right.
will
Exactly. Yep.
residents can make, other arrangements for their summer activities. That it should only be, he said it should only take a day or two.
Mhm.
So hopefully it shouldn't be down for long. I did reach out to another company for installing the RV lot lights. He has not gotten back to me yet either. I sent him an email and called him today and left a message. So as soon as he gets back to me, he has a bucket truck that I guess, Dan, you spoke to him, said he may be willing to get the RV lights up for us. We originally had Hoffman doing it, borrowing Flawless's truck. Flawless's bucket truck has been down.
Do we know where?
Well,
No worries. Was it supposed to be no worries? Was it?
Well, originally it was Flawless. Nick has not mentioned anything to me about the bucket truck.
Okay.
So we were trying to do a different route here. One way or another, we'll get these RV lights up though.
The information I gave Joy is there's a person across the street from me, my neighbor. Her father owns United Sign and is basically retired, and he still does little side jobs with his bucket truck. And one of the side jobs he does is put up parking lot lights. And so I brought it up to him and said, Joy, maybe we could work something out here. So that's what she's working on for us.
As soon as he gets back to me, I will let you know. Hopefully he will be able to do it sooner than later. 2 additional speed bumps were ordered and those have actually come in. So I'm assuming we're just gonna have Mike install those again. So if the board wants to mark where they go, then I can have him get those taken care of.
Joy, I think last time Mike didn't actually do them, the other Mike and somebody else came out to do them because our normal Mike didn't have the right tools to do it. So just a generic statement.
They're all one big maintenance team.
They're all one big Mike?
They're all one big Mike. Our Fairways maintenance team will install them.
Okay, all right.
Joy, has the fence repair been completed?
The what?
Fence repair.
No, fence companies will not get back to you. It took me, well, I still haven't gotten the quote from Dan, and I met with Carrie's Fence, over a month ago, and they still have not gotten the estimate back to me. I'm having an extremely hard time even getting fence companies to call me back.
Really?
Correct. We have a fence repair being done for the POA that they just approved, and because supplies are so limited that they said it will be at least 3 to 4 months before supplies even get to them to start that project. So
Okay.
I basically have resorted to Googling and just going down the list for fence companies, but I think they have so much work with so little supplies that they're just able to be kind of picky on what jobs they take, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you did mention that. Thank you.
Not a problem.
On a side note with the fence, there's a former resident who owned a fence company and now works for a very large fence company, does huge residential jobs. I'm going to reach out to him and see if maybe we can work our way in the door there with, maybe he'll come out and do our work for us. So
That would be nice.
Yeah. However, I mean, Mike, our original Mike, is keeping an eye on the DeGroot fence, kind of piecing it back together when it falls, so it at least looks presentable from far away, and the city at least won't be on us for it.
Right. Do you know if he replaced the slats over on the other backside street and
I don't
between
think
the
we had the correct size slats that were needed
Okay.
for that.
all right. Well, then we'll have to get them, huh? All right.
I know, I was gonna look on Amazon to see if they even sold them there.
Right, yeah.
Because I know that he went to Lowe's or Home Depot to try to find them, and they were out of stock when he went. So that's kind of on his radar too. It's, yeah, I have 3 different associations that have like desperate fence repairs needing to be done. And
Okay.
the only people I can get to come out in a timely fashion is professional grade fence. They're just expensive.
Right.
The next is the Ring doorbell that we had discussed last meeting and then tabled.
I think we all discussed it, and we'd like to move forward with getting that done.
Yeah, I agree that, didn't you say, Louisa, that it appears as though even though we'd found a group of kids who were causing trouble up there, that the trouble really hasn't officially stopped up there yet?
Right, because, yeah, there's still other kids in that area.
Right.
Even before Dan fixed that fence, there was different kids going through the fence that I had spoken to. So it's not getting, I don't think it's gonna get fixed, just because we have a lot of kids in the area and, they
Yeah.
get bored and they're trying to find stuff to do.
Well, you're also right across from the high school too. It doesn't take much.
Exactly. And that's the thing with summer coming, and if we're not gonna put somebody in there with security, if we're not gonna pay for that, then I think we should at least invest in having something there,
Mhm.
especially if the cameras don't work well, having something there that we can at least keep an eye on the pool. Make sure everything's on the up and up.
I agree.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to have Joy go ahead and get us internet up there at the pool cabana as related to the quote that I had sent from Spectrum out in the email earlier last month.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right.
And I guess, Louisa, we can kind of talk about which actual, and Clyde, which rings we actually want to put up there, which ring devices, and get them ordered this month then?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is all that I had for new business. Did anyone else have anything for new business? Or old business? Sorry.
Old business, I was gonna say.
Old business, sorry.
Oh, I have a quick question. Are the minutes being put online? Do you know?
Yes. They should be on there up through March.
So they're not. I don't know. I know that you might be putting them, but they're not, the dates are not showing for people to click on.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it stops in July
Mhm.
still, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I kept asking, going, where do I get these? And everybody said, oh, it's on here. And I'm like, there's nowhere to get them. So I don't know why. I don't know if it's the system that's being used, but you can't access anything before after July.
Yeah,
Hmm.
when I went on, I saw the same thing, that it ended in July.
I've got, I saw January's, because I requested that they be posted. And it just came on, but March isn't there yet.
I'm looking at March right now on the website.
They
Oh,
just put it
good.
on. All right, that's great.
And
That's
I'll go
great.
back and look too.
All right.
And the guys doing the fertilization, is that project completed?
The fertilization, we have it done 5 times a year. So he came the end of March and did one section of the property.
Yes.
And then 2 weeks later, he came and did the other half of the property. And then when I spoke to him, he was able to figure out exactly how much time it would take him. So when he comes back again, he'll be doing the whole property within 1 week.
Okay, that's what I meant
Yeah.
as far as the first application. He's done
Yes,
the
that's
entire.
done. Yep.
Okay.
So both ends have been done, and folks saw him on the property, and he was spraying between the houses all the way down the
Good
back of the
job.
property in the front. So I mean, I did get people were complimenting him, the service that he was doing, what they saw, and they were sharing that with me. So that was good.
Okay, good.
Anyone else for old business?
No.
All right. New business. The first is the signs to add to the common areas.
Yes. We were talking about getting nice signs, but something to put in the common areas to remind our homeowners that have their lovely pets to clean up after them.
Is there a number of signs that anybody's put together and locations that they feel are relevant?
Well, I would say, I know on my end, our problem is the large grassy area next to the playground that people like to use as a dumping ground. And in the cul-de-sac, I'm in that strip there. That's another one, minus the properties, but those are the common areas that I see a lot. I'm not sure about the other end, if there's a lot there.
As you turn off of Sawgrass onto Los Palmos, that area is used tremendously for the same thing. So at least 2 more signs, one for each side of the road there. So that's a total of 4 so far. I don't know anywhere other areas, should we do by pump 6 on La Maderia, and should we do further down Los Palmos by pump 5 in that common area, and just hit
Dan,
all.
is that pump you're talking about, is that next to me at 1604?
Yes. Correct.
Yes, they are.
So that would be 4, 5, 6, 7 signs. Does that sound about right? Do we feel like there's any need at the front gate area?
Well, I know folks go out in that gate area to take their dogs there, but
I know there's always dog poop by pump 2 because I'm always in and out of pump 2,
Yeah.
but I don't know that it's going to help to have a sign there. I mean, they're right out in the middle of everywhere and they're still doing it. So I don't know. So I guess, do we have a number of signs we'd like to order?
Why don't I just go with 8, an even number?
Okay. And would we like to just go ahead and have Mike install them as soon as Joy gets them?
I would say yes.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to order 8 signs that discuss picking up after your pet and putting them in the common areas that we just discussed, and have them installed by Fairways Maintenance.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And let me throw something out there real quick. I don't know if it's been discussed before, but have we ever talked about putting a station out there along with the signs, like perhaps spending a little money to have bags out there for people who forgot to bring their bag? I've seen other communities do that. I don't know how successful it is, but
My only concern would be then we have to have a trash can there probably, and then who's going to empty the trash can? Not that I'm against it. I'm just saying who's emptying the trash can. So
Well, normally those stations have a little green trash can like attached to them.
right, but somebody's got to empty it at some
somebody's
point.
got to empty it. You have a good point there.
Yeah, so I mean, not against it, but we have to figure out the logistics of it.
Okay.
All right. Last that I have for new business is ARC procedures. I'm getting a lot of kickback from when people are submitting applications them having to submit the contractor's vendor or the contractor's license and insurance. They're not understanding as to why that is needed. So I said I would bring that. It is not something that we have always done. It's newer, probably within the last year and a half that we started requesting that.
Well, I'm one of them that just had to do that. And I was like, wait a minute. But I will say I am in agreement with it because you have Joe Schmoes that drive through here that offer their services, that if they mess up something and they're not licensed or insured, then the homeowner is kind of screwed.
Well, my take on it would be that if we look into the legal side of it, I, as a homeowner, can walk out and do whatever I want to do. As long as I pull my permit, I don't need my insurance, I don't need a license, I don't need to do anything. The city will let me do whatever I want to do. The city will then follow up with my permit, the city will inspect. However, that permit is really what's ensuring what is being asked for, the insurance and the licensure, or ensuring that the job is done correctly. So asking for the insurance and licensure of a vendor, I don't think is that relevant to the homes and the homeowners. That would be the homeowner's responsibility. If they're pulling a permit through the city of Palm Bay, the city of Palm Bay is not going to allow someone who is not licensed and inspected or licensed and insured to do that job for someone else, or they're going to say you must be the homeowner and take the responsibility yourself. So I'm not sure that continuing to ask for that is something that we can actually enforce in any way, shape, or form. Now, if we want to ask and they want to provide it, okay, but I wouldn't hold up an ARC form because of lack of it. I just don't think that makes any sense. The other thing that has been brought up is that the ARC committee is having a tough time with their communication because they are not able to meet monthly like we are currently and like they had been. And I believe a few of the members are having difficulty being able to actually Zoom in to meet as well. So I'm wondering if possibly we should, in a way, I don't really mean suspend, but kind of suspend the ARC for a little short amount of time to allow for them to be able to figure out a way to meet more effectively and to figure that out. I don't know, Joy, or is the clubhouse gonna even remotely think about opening any time for meetings in the next couple months or no?
Their 8th is June. I won't have confirmation on that until the end of the month, but that's their timetable's always kind of been June. So they're still aiming for that.
Okay, because I'm not implying in any way, shape, or form to not look at ARC forms and do that, but maybe the board can kind of handle it and work with the ARC members that can meet on Zoom, like Diane, for example, and we go back to the way it always was, where the ARC meets 15 minutes before the board meeting and we all meet as a Zoom meeting and we handle those, instead of having the ARC board get their emails all month long. And I mean, is there a reason that we're doing the emails all month long, Joy, instead of just having a monthly get together meeting?
Well, I mean, COVID.
Okay.
Like
so
you said, they weren't able to get together. So then it just kind of defaulted as everyone was doing everything via email. And I will say, the emails get confusing and jumbled.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I work all day, and so in between working all day and trying, like if I get a little quick break where I can answer you, I try to do that. But unfortunately, being a nurse doesn't allow me to do that.
Yeah.
So, I suggest that have the board take care of the ARC applications, even if you just send us all of them, because before you would always let everybody know that they would be discussed, 15 minutes or the day of the meeting. So if we can go back to that, have the board take care of it, like even if you just send them to us 1 week prior to the meeting so we can look at them. And then I want to get the ARC committee together and try to come up with a schedule where we can actually meet, whether if I know a couple can't get on Zoom, they just don't have that capability. But if we can come up with something where we can either meet or just do something to discuss them, it's better to do it all in one shot in person than have to do it continuously through emails. So that was my thought on that. And it would probably be if we can get June up and going with the building, then we'll know it'll be for next month. But I'm just saying for right now, just do all the emails like 1 week prior to the meeting.
I mean, whatever's gonna work for you guys is fine with me.
Do we need to add one more person to the ARC?
Yeah, that's my other
guys
thing is
have
getting a
those.
committee together. Yeah. Diane and I do a lot of back and forth, like getting on there. We pick up little things, like she'll see something that maybe I didn't see. And then, we kind of bounce things off each other, which is great, but it's nice to have another
I'm
person.
available if
odd
you guys
number.
need somebody.
So that's great, Donna. Thank you.
So to kind of recap, it sounds like that we're hopeful that maybe in June, we can kind of go back to somewhat of normal and actually start meeting in person. And if we can't, that if the art committee themselves as they exist can't meet as a group, that the board would kind of take over for at least June and make that happen all in one fell swoop discussion. And any art member who can meet at that time would be a part of that. Is that kind of what we're saying, or?
Yeah, I like to get it. Yeah, I like to meet with them and get a schedule together. It'll be better. Have something consistent.
All right.
If you're getting as many ARC applications as you are now, 15 minutes is not going to make it.
That's true.
There's way too many.
I would agree. And I knew that even when I said it. I'm kind of hopeful that maybe we can figure out a time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The committee,
over and above what we
will,
used to do.
Right, exactly. The committee will come together and meet and pick up a date and time where we can actually meet and get them all done. Even if it's a half an hour, it takes. But we just need to come up with a schedule because it's just way too many emails throughout the day and throughout the weeks. You know what I mean? Just going back and forth, and you kind of lose a little bit in those emails. So it's better if we can get together and actually discuss them. All the ARC applications and approve them correctly, sign them off like we used to. We're trying to get back to where we were prior to COVID.
All right, so is the board doing them for time where a lot of things were kind of just thrown out?
Yeah, I know.
I think the biggest part for you, Joy, is just hold them all and we're going to request them. It's either going to be the ARC board who can find a time that's going to work for them and they can get together, or if that doesn't work, the board will pick it up and handle it for June and we'll get it figured out by July.
Okay, so I'll put this in effect going forward tomorrow. So anything you guys have on the table, tie up, and then we'll start fresh, since this is going to be, it'll be how it.
Yeah, I think everything, Diane, if I'm not mistaken, I think everything's been addressed, hasn't it?
Not that 1648. I still had a.
Yeah, that's the last one.
Yeah, you approved it. And I still had another question. Are they putting a pool or just a slab?
Just a slab.
And we so I don't understand. Is it going to be a lanai with another lanai?
Yeah, it's going to be an extension on the lanai with a bird cage, like that type of screen closure.
So it's going to be covering the original screen porch and the slab. Okay, that's what I didn't understand. I still didn't.
Right.
Okay.
Sounds like it's a pool without a pool is what it sounds like.
Exactly.
That's how he explained it. He said it's going to be as if he had a pool, but it's concrete. So he's basically trying to extend his back porch.
And that's what it is. It's a pool without a pool. It's the size of the pool, but without the pool. And that's when I looked up in the covenants and it said it had to be, if it was a pool going in there, it had to be 10 feet from the back of the property.
Okay, but it's not a pool.
Exactly.
It could be space for a hot tub later on. We don't know.
Yes, but if it's not a pool, it has to be 20 feet from the back of the property.
I think you would start getting into some of the ambiguous writing in our documents when you start touching on that, because of the fact that, is it a fence? It's not a fence. A fence says 20 feet. It's not a fence. You're not discussing a fence. So your 20-foot came from fencing. We're
But
talking
in
about a screen enclosure. Screen enclosure is not a fence.
But
And
Dan,
if
on
you-
the actual survey, whoever did the survey wrote it. It's stamped right on there, 20 feet from the back. If it's just, wasn't it 20 feet if it's a screen? I don't know. Now I'm confused because
Yeah, we'll
I'm
like,
not, Diane, I'm not in any way, shape or form saying the city of Palm Bay doesn't have a code that says he has to be 20 feet off. I'm not saying that. I'm only saying what's in
Okay.
our documents as the HOA. That's all
Okay.
I'm talking
Yep.
okay,
But Diane, he knows that we're still in discussion with it. He said,
Right.
you know, I already told him on the phone that, you know, nothing has been decided yet, and we still have time.
okay. Thank you, Louisa.
You're welcome.
And Dan.
Yeah, it brings us back to our original, the license and insurance information.
I think it's very important that you do get the license and insurance. They do apply to get a permit, but do you even see the permit? And I don't think ever do they turn in a copy of the permit saying that they're getting a roof. So if they're getting a roof and the vendor submits his insurance and all that, but the ARC never gets to see a copy of that permit, not ever that I know. So you don't know if they're insured and if they're licensed. So it's important that they submit it ahead of time, just in case if the guy is spraying and it's windy and it lands on somebody's car, now you've got a real issue.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
that
you
would
gotta
But all of
issue.
those issues that you're bringing up would fall on the homeowner. And they would fall on the homeowner's insurance, and they would fall on the homeowner's responsibility. If my tree falls on your car, it's my homeowner's insurance. It has nothing to do with the permit. If I build a wall on my house incorrectly and it falls on your car, that's my homeowner's insurance. That's my responsibility.
Exactly.
And the HOA is I personally feel overstepping their own grounds by trying to force these things to be given. If the owner wants to give them freely, that's fantastic. But to push it, I don't think we have the ability to push that legally or enforceably. Nor do I think it is correct to enforce it. I mean, this
Amen.
is, you're talking about homeowners' responsibility and insurance. So, you know, really, we as an HOA can't walk in and say, show me a copy of your homeowner's insurance. We can't. So, you know, how can we demand that they act a certain way on their property that isn't in our covenants? If our covenants said it, our documents said it, then I would 100% agree, but they don't. So I just don't think that we're able to ask for this and enforce it.
Whatever.
That's a fact. I agree myself.
Would have to agree myself also.
So where does that leave us?
It leaves us that, I guess, if you want to leave it on the form and the homeowner offers it to you, they offer it to you. But to
Right.
continue going back to the homeowner and asking them to do it and holding up their form because of it, I think
Exactly.
is wrong.
Right, well,
If
the
you wanna
main,
take it off the form, then take it off, you know.
right, the main things that we really need, honestly, when it comes to any type of construction on the property, like a pool or even a slab or a fence, we automatically need a survey.
Correct.
That part has to be part of their application. If they're
Correct.
painting their home, they need to make sure that they're picking a color from the book. And if they're not, you need to say, you know what, stop right there, just pick a color
Correct.
from the book. That saves a lot of back and forth. When they're doing their shingles, if they're doing the architectural shingles like they're supposed to, those are already like 30-year fungus resistant, and they have to supply the color of it. So those things that automatically should be submitted with all the applications. All the ones that we've been working on, you know, there's some of them cutting down their trees because of damage being done to the foundation of their home or even the sidewalks being lifted. in the covenant, it says that they're supposed to replace the tree. So we have to make sure, you know, I know in the emails, Joy, a couple of them I said to you, make sure they're aware that they have to put, you know, replace with the tree. But what we need to do is make sure that it's written on that paper. It has to be on the ARC application that they're doing that. So those type of things, we just want to make sure are being done.
Right.
Mhm. All right. Anyone have any other comments for ARC procedures?
What is happening to people that are changing the color of their home and not applying for ARC approval?
Well, if I'm walking and I see a house, I was like, hey, wait a minute, that color looks, or if I see that they're starting to paint it, and Joy, you know that down the street, somebody was starting to paint their home, and I'm like, hey, I didn't see an ARC application. Can you reach out to them? And she has. So if we see somebody painting their home, then I'm letting her know, you know, because I don't see an ARC application, I'm letting her know, can you please reach out to them? And send them a letter letting them know that they need an ARC application for the paint.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So is this an open floor at this point?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
It depends. What do you want to talk about?
No, I have new business yet. Hold on.
Like,
Well, yeah, that's all the new business I had. So what new business do you have?
The new business I have, we've talked about it as a board and we've kind of shot the emails back and forth with you, Joy. But Penny apparently still isn't able to clean at the pool, and you had brought up to possibly find someone for us and or the person who was cleaning up at the clubhouse. Did you find us someone? Because we need it.
Yes, so he said he's actually on vacation. So, but Penny actually goes back to the doctor tomorrow to get clearance to hopefully be able, I should know tomorrow if she'll be able to come back.
Okay, awesome.
So,
I mean, I want
Good.
Penny back,
That's
no matter
good.
what, but you know, we need somebody no matter what, so.
yeah, no, I know.
And before we go into open discussion, which I know is going to probably be open discussion, I don't believe the guy doing the fertilization actually went through the entire property. And like Janet and other people have pointed out that they don't feel like they've been fertilized. With that being said, though, without the rain, without any, all of the yards are not looking the greatest. There's a lot of
yeah, well, that's nothing new there because they
Yeah.
haven't really looked the greatest. He only did one time.
Right.
And honestly, I'm texting him now, but the thing
Yes.
is, even him going through one time is not going to make a difference.
right. But I just wondered if we could poll him or just make sure that he's completed the first application.
Yeah,
And
I'm texting him right now while we're talking.
Okay, great. All right, good. Good enough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And a little commentary that's, I don't know if it's really new business, old business, or just a report. Pump 4 had gone down. We replaced it. It burnt up again. It has been replaced under warranty, so it's not costing us anything. And we are waiting to turn it back on until we get a new mag starter for it. And that is custom built for each pump as it comes for our neighborhood. So it's taking a little longer than we expected. So pump 4, which is Los Palmos, is the first half of Los Palmos, is going to be very, very dry till that pump comes on.
Yeah.
We are also on the list for the screens to be pumped or to cleaned, and they're going to finish that up. And we have some other things that they're coming out to do that I'm not sure why it didn't get, some of it didn't get done in April, but it's on the list as far as sprinklers go.
Very good.
Any other new business?
Well, I have a question about the lawn. Does anyone else think that in this heat, it's being cut a little bit too short?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, I said the exact same thing today. That's it.
Me
It
too.
looks a little too short. Looks a little too short.
Well,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been, a lot of past few ones have been short, and I text them like, hey, what's your deck set at? You said you're going to be setting at the highest
That's what it's supposed
number,
to
you know what I mean? Like up high, and I'm like, and the lawns are looking short. And then I think his reply had to go back with, oh, that's because it's the winter months, you know, the way the grass looks. But yes, I said, and matter of fact, I just sent a few pictures of my lawn to them, so they know.
Yeah, it should be perhaps 4 inches.
That's
In this
right.
type of weather. It may look better and not look so dried up, even without the rain. Once
Right.
we start getting rain, it'll still look good, and it should stay that way.
As long as you've got decent St. Augustine, 4 inches is great to 4.5 even, but it's when you
Yeah.
have too many of those other grasses mixed in from it dying off and growing back in that 4 inches doesn't look the greatest. But yes,
Yeah,
100%.
you're
It should be a minimum of 4 inches, 100%.
Correct. Okay.
I'll mention it to Nick as well.
Good.
All right, if there's no other new business, I do have a few violations that are on their third notice that I'll need to have approved to send out a finding notice. First is 1793 sawgrass for the weeds, 1660 sawgrass for cleaning their fence, 1560 La Maderia for their inoperable car in the driveway, and then 1641 La Maderia for cleaning the driveway and sidewalks.
I make a motion to go ahead and approve all of the addresses that Joy just mentioned for fining and to send them their fine letters.
Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 So Joy, I have a question since we're talking
Yes.
about that, if you don't mind. The letters that get sent out for the second and third, I know, if I'm not mistaken, so the first letter goes out, and I'm sorry if this is me repeating myself. The first letter goes out, they have 30 days to fix the problem.
Correct.
Then you go in, you do your inspection, and then if they haven't, then they get another letter giving them 2 weeks, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then they get the third letter, and then you go do your inspections again, and then if they don't resolve it, they get a third letter.
Yes, so well, the third letter is them being fined.
Fine, correct. So my question is, if the second letter that goes out, they get 2 weeks to fix it, correct? But you go out a month. You don't go out for 2 weeks, or do you go out those 2 weeks to do the letters that are sent out?
No, we only go out once a month. So, and I try to do that to right before your meeting. So they technically get longer than those 2 weeks.
Okay. Is there a reason why that we can't follow the letter of what it says, 2 weeks? Like, why is it that it can't be done in 2 weeks?
Because my schedule doesn't always allot for me to be out there every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Checking. I mean, I'll try, like I went out there today or yesterday and did 2-week inspections.
Right, I'm just talking about just for those second letters that are being out. So your schedule doesn't allow you to do a 2-week inspection for those second letters?
Not always.
All
I'll try to get out there, but I mean, if you think about it, then I'm doing multiple inspections a month to follow those different timelines.
Right, well, we're just trying to have things followed up, you know what I mean? Like if somebody has something going on and they're getting a whole extra month to fix that problem, and the letter saying 2 weeks. So we're just trying to be consistent with what we're putting out there, that's all.
Yeah, I think that from a discussion I had with Luis a little bit earlier, it feels like we should go inspect after 2 weeks if that's what the letter says, or maybe the letter shouldn't say after 2 weeks. I mean,
Right.
You know, I mean, it's an inconsistency, that's all. And we were wondering if there's any way that you felt that you would be able to do that 2-week inspection for those 2-week people. I mean, not come do a whole neighborhood inspection or whatever, and just, if you had 3 that were at 2 weeks, you know, if you'd be able to possibly come by and get them, you know. So you'd be in our neighborhood twice a month, you know.
It
So.
depends on the amount, in all honesty.
Okay.
There's multiple second letters that go out.
Right. Is there anything we could do to help with that would make sense, you know, from the right perspective, you know, is there? I mean, obviously the board shouldn't be doing inspection, obviously, but you know, is there anything that we could do to help with that in any way, shape or form to try and get that second inspection?
No, I mean, the only other option is stop sending out the second notice. And we can do
Oh.
30 days
Oh,
right to finding. Because state statutes that you only have to give them that first notice. The second one is kind of out of courtesy.
So you would send out the first letter, give them 30 days to fix it, and if they don't fix it, they go right to fining.
Correct.
Well, actually, the way it looks, if you send out that second letter as a courtesy, but you're still giving them another 30 days, and then it would be appropriate to fine them, which makes sense, rather than going out and checking after 2 weeks.
How many of your neighborhoods or your other properties offer that second letter that we
Right.
offer, and how many go directly from the first letter to fining?
I have
That's a good
two that
question.
do first letter to fining, and then the rest of them do first and second.
So 2 out of the 8, is that what it is? Yeah. Then I guess I would maybe say, if you can do that second week inspection, we'd greatly appreciate it. But I think maybe the board needs to have a discussion and say, do we want to switch and drop the second letter and go from the first right to fining in the second, like your other neighborhoods? Because maybe that would be the resolution to be moving faster. Because, you know, if we give them 30 days and if it ain't done, then they get their fining letter. I don't know. You know, because isn't that what we're trying to do? Make it happen faster?
Yeah, we didn't want the letters to be consistent. If they're getting a letter and they're like, oh, we're getting away with it, you know, let's do it
Right.
again.
Right. I mean, what do you think, Louisa? What do you think, Clyde? Would you support dropping the second letter and just giving a first letter the 30 days? And if at the end of 30 days, it's not resolved, send them to the fining? Or do you really want to maintain that second letter?
I would prefer keeping it the way it is, not to put anything more on Joy. However, giving at the same time a little grace period for the person trying to get whatever resolved. 2 weeks after the first letter, yeah, they should have it taken care of. But if they haven't taken care of anything in after 60 days, yes, then they should be expecting action.
Okay, so you're for basically keeping the second notice. What do you think, Louisa? Are you for keeping the second notice?
I'm fine with keeping it as long as we're doing what it says.
Okay, so you both would like to keep it, and Louisa, you'd like to make the two consistent, the inspection and the letter consistent, whatever it says. If it's 30 days, then it's 30 days. If it's 2 weeks, it's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right, Joy. Well, if you can give us some direction to get us towards what Luis is asking, whether we change our second letter or you can get out and inspect, that would be great. That'd be fantastic. Whichever one you think is going to be the better for consistency over time, I guess we'd follow your lead with.
I can't guarantee that I'll be able to
Right.
get out there every 2 weeks.
You have enough on your plate. That's why I like giving that extra time, that extra 2 weeks. If it turns into 4 weeks, I understand what you're saying, Louisa. We're not living up to what we're writing in the letter. However, it's giving them an additional 2 weeks to get their act together or get things straightened out.
But I understand where Luis is coming from. This is just my opinion. I'm new. If we're going to tell them that you have 2 weeks to do this and then you're going to be fined, then we need to do that. If we're unable to do that, then we need to go to
Change the letter or
change the letter, and we're after 30 days. And no offense, dude, you have 30 days.
Yeah.
You have 30 days. And if you need help, people can help, but you have 30 days to weed your yard or to clean your driveway. And I know people are on hard times.
From the front of their garage to the side of the house.
But it's if you
Yeah.
do what you say, we have to do what we're saying we're doing. If not, then what good are we not holding our word if this is what we're going to do?
Mhm.
All right. Well, Louisa, would you like to make a motion to change our second notice from whatever it is, 14 days to 30 days? And can we do that, Joy? Or do our documents write it that we're doing that? Is this something we've chose to do? or is it in writing?
It's not in your docs. You just have
Okay.
to give, I almost want to say, I believe the state statute says you have to give 14 days, but I'd have to go back and look that up. You may not even
Well-
have to give 30 days. You guys are lenient with the 2 letters. You're not required to do that.
Right.
Oh, you're implying that even our first letter could say 14 days?
I believe so. I'll have to go back and it might be, it might state 14 days and then you can do another 14-day letter. I'll have to go back and double check the state statute what the correct verbiage is.
You're probably right. It's probably 30 days before you can find them. And that's why some people 1 letter, 30 days. And okay, so, but Louisa, do you want to just make a motion that we change our second letter to 30 days? So our first letter stays the same at 30 days. Our second letter says 30 days. That'll fall right into Joy's normal inspection routine of every 30 days. And then we'll be consistent across the board.
Yep. Do we need to find out first, Joy, before we even make that motion?
No, I know that you only have to do at least 1 30-day notice. You're not required to do that second notice, so.
Okay. I make a motion that we make some changes in the second letter for the violations, for the inspections, that they will, what are we doing? We're gonna do 30 days. So, Dan, how are we wording this?
The first letter is already 30 days. The second letter will be changed from 14 days
15 days
to 30
30
days.
days.
Correct. I second our combined motion, Louisa.
Thank you. Yeah, we just need to be consistent. That's all. You know, whatever that's written down, we have to be able to be consistent and just, you know, our words have to match our
Match our
actions.
actions.
That's
Yeah.
right.
All right, anything else on violations?
Oh, I'm good.
All right, open discussion.
That's you, Mike, or are you
Mike.
frozen? Oh, you're blinking. I
Yeah.
seen your eyes
Oh, I'm
blink.
sorry.
I'm like, yeah,
I was just, yeah. I just want to thank all of you guys. You're doing a great job and I appreciate you. And just, you know, I would like to be somewhat of a help, whatever way I can. But once again, with the eye situation that I'm dealing with, it's been pretty tough for me, but I didn't take this meeting to cry. I just want to say to you, reflectors on that front gate, if you can make those a little longer and brighter on the entrance gates and even on the exit gates, reflectors.
Yeah,
Because
it's already
once
been brought up to Joy and to Mike, the maintenance guy, and he's gonna pick something up and put it on there.
That's good, Mike.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And that helps us, even though we try to get home before dark. But when we do, I have a problem seeing that gate. So just a little thank you there. And the other is I just want to make clear that based on the insurance homeowners madness that's going on in the state of Florida, and I hear a few other states, Texas and on and so on, the major increase in cost of the insurance that is being levied onto the homeowner, weighing aside the fact that I thank you for really making it clear that we are going to be getting quite a few roof replacements coming. It's just a matter of time, and that's given. Claims are being made and lawsuits are being made and all kinds of madness is going on with the roofs, and making it harder for the homeowner to be able, most roofers that come in here want to stand by the fact that they won't even start unless the HOA approves. And that's respectful to the HOA. I get it. But based on the pressure that's being laid on the homeowner, which will probably be myself down the road as well, in prospecting, getting a roof next year, getting through this winter, getting through this hurricane season and moving forward, to make life better for me, and knowing that it's time. But all of that to say this, I appreciate the fact that we can write a check for $25. We can initiate a 30-year shingle to go on the roof, and we can give the roofer and the go-ahead to get busy if time is at essence, because I think that's going to be an issue down the road. I'm not prophesying it. I'm just saying it's happening all over the state. So I'm just sharing with you the thank you on the side that the more that we can take the pressure off the homeowner. We don't have a major color wheel. Nobody's going to put an orange roof on or a metal roof on their house. The bottom line is the shingles are 30
You say
years.
that, Mike, but one of the people in this neighborhood was going to put a metal roof on, and I stepped in and said, "No, you're not."
I get it. There are some people, there are some situations that are stuck on stupid, but I get that. And thank you for catching that. But if that came across the table, you would see that it's shingle, it's black, it's silver, it's beautiful, and let's move on. We want to assure that the roofer that comes in here, just like you said, he will put an inspection notice on my door. He will, as a homeowner, be licensed and insured when he steps on my property. And that's not just for roofers, that's for anybody being a homeowner. So I respect that and understand that. So I want to know that by you saying what you said, by what you guys have come to an understanding, that it's not about how many roofers are going to be in the neighborhood knocking. It's just the fact there's going to be roofers out here who are going to be inspecting homes and be trying to make the homeowner an offer they can't refuse. So it's just inevitable for it to happen. It's coming. And once we had a Jasper in here at one time, and then we got this other roofer in here, which is an excellent roofer in my perspective. But we don't need 15, 25 roofers, walking around banging on doors. We got people who solicit, and
I chase them away, by the way.
And we all do. And we do understand that. And we speak for the other neighbors. No, they already have lawn service. They don't need it. Or weed killer or whatever. But my point is that we're all looking out for each other. And when it comes down to the bottom line of holding up something at the table because you don't have enough time, you got to wait another 30 days. We didn't like the color of your shingle, but yet we have no color wheel. Those are the things that I just want to put in my heart, my mind, when a neighbor says to me, what do I do? How do I do this? You must fill out a form. You must pay your $25 and you must submit it to the HOA. I get it. And I understand that. But when it comes to these roofs and time is at essence, you gotta run with what you got. And we want to respect the HOA and what they have put on the table. But for a roofer to call and say, well, I haven't heard from your HOA, so we're not moving forward. We're going to have to wait another 2 months because I'm going to start another project. That's a pretty tough place to be in for the homeowner. But if he's got a permit on the door, he submitted his $25. He's given the color of his shingle, and he knows it's 30 years, and it's mildew proof and all the other proofs. Should that homeowner take the green light and go for it? and I hope I didn't disconnect because it's
No, you
very
didn't.
quiet.
And you're good, Mike. We listen.
No, if they submitted the application and paid, Joy's pretty, prompt with that. The emails, and that was the big thing, is having all these emails coming through. But if there's like and there's times there's been something that's been an urgency, like really things that have to be done, she lets us know right away. So it's not that it won't be addressed, it would be addressed.
Okay, I just want to say that
Yeah.
because we're talking, we have 15 minutes to put together the package and we only got one day out of the month to make this happen, because there's going to be some urgencies across the
No,
table.
and she definitely lets us know when there's an urgency and we do address it. I'm talking about like there's times where somebody puts in an ARC application, okay, well, we're looking to have this done. They put it in the month before and they're doing the job next month. Well, actually that doesn't have to be emailed. That can wait to when we meet together.
Mhm.
See what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
when you see when it has the date on there when you're doing the job. So if it needs to be addressed prior to that, she does let us know and puts an urgency on it that we need a response, and we do get to it. And then she'll go, okay, I only have like 2 approvals on this, and you know what I mean? So she's asking everybody for input. But if there's something that can wait till we can all
Yeah.
get together to stop all these emails coming through and going, you know what I mean, getting lost in the shuffle. I mean, there's times there's a lot of them coming in and we're like, oh, and she's like, hey, did you guys see this one? And we're like, no, because there's
Yeah.
so many of them. It's just easier to have them together if we can just get them that way.
Well, there's the rumors going around, and maybe a rumor, maybe not. And I usually don't repeat it, but there are some insurance companies that are dropping homeowners, and that being an urgency, they only have 90
Right.
days, 90
Right.
days to get a roof.
Yeah,
So
and
it
I totally understand that. But yeah, if there is an urgency and somebody says, hey, I need to have something back within 2 weeks, Joy's gonna let us know.
Okay. Not that I'm hoping that that'll be the case for any of our neighbors, but these insurance companies are not
No,
of sound mind right now.
right. No,
I
I
think,
got
Mike, that the ARC will be able to react fast
We
enough.
need it.
I'm getting a roof, and
Okay.
the reality is,
All right, folks, we have an anchor
all
down.
by themselves, just to approve the permit. And then
Can
on top
everyone
of that-
please mute?
And then on top of that, the shingles from most companies are not guaranteed in a timely fashion. You only get and so I suspect that the ARC, even if they only meet once a month, will more than be able to meet the timeline that the roofer needs to be met.
Yeah. I'm just saying if there's an
Yeah.
urgency there.
Yep.
Yep.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, that's all I got.
Next.
Go ahead, Mira.
Muted here. Thank you very
Oh.
much. Thanks, Mike, for bringing up the reflectors. It was brought up last month and I didn't see anything done about it, but maybe now this will be getting done. We've talked about the screens being cleaned since January, since I sent a letter in January. And I know that in March it said it was going to be in April, and now it's on ASI's schedule. Scheduled for which month? Anybody have any idea?
It was supposed to be done in April.
Yes, that's what you said at the March meeting.
If you're not familiar, you do know that they have to physically get in the water to clean those, right? That they
Yeah,
take a
I do.
kayak out there. Okay. All right. So they are actually currently working on 4 zones and fixing them down in your cul-de-sac. They've just replaced a pump 4, and they've replaced it a second time. They have replaced the sump pump in the pool for the pool well, and they are fixing heads here and there. If Jeff is so busy at this moment that he can't get to our screens until he gets them on his schedule, and he's scheduled to get them, I'm going to wait for him to get them out here. I'm personally not going to go out there and clean them, and I'm not going to fire him because he hasn't got to them yet. So they're on the schedule, and when he gets to them, he will. And I've reminded him on a weekly basis the last 3 weeks. So I don't know what else you'd like me to tell you about that.
Well, now that you've explained it of why you've approached him several times and it's on a schedule, and that we have 4 zone valves, pump 4, sub pump at the pool, it gives a reason why. Just keep delaying it and not giving us a reason, I'm willing to wait too when he's got that much of work. What is the situation with the mulch in the front? Nick was supposed to, he did the inside part, and
I have not spoke
and
to Nick
last
about
week-
the mulch, so I'm not up to date on that. Maybe somebody else can speak to that.
I have
Lisa?
actually, yep. I sent him a text, right before the mulch was done in the cul-de-sac area. And I asked him when that was going to be done, and he told me that they would be out Saturday to get that done, which they did. And then the following week, he was supposed to be getting the front, done. So I sent him another text reminding him that he had mentioned it was supposed to be done a week later after the cul-de-sac area. So he is quite aware and plans on getting that done.
Thank you.
ASAP, yeah.
Right. Back in January and as late as last week, I've written 2 letters to the board suggesting that they may want to consider getting 2 different committees going to assist them at staying active in their preventive maintenance, and one of them being an infrastructure committee with homeowners on it and a board member, so that they could assist them, and a report could be given to the board of directors 1 week before their monthly meeting, letting them know what is going on with vendors, schedules, and preventive maintenance. Anything else like that, it would assist the present board, who we only have 4 members now, with getting these things done. The other committee that I mentioned was a welcoming committee, if you will, welcoming the new homeowners and making sure that they have their covenants and restrictions and, just a howdy-do, letting them know when the pickup of trash is. With the proper orientation, the association would save dollars on having to send so many violations. And it would also form a sense of community to our new neighbors. So I did get an answer from Joy regarding my second request about this, and said, if you would like to see these committees formed, I would suggest getting them together and bringing them to the board. Well, I thought that's what I did with sending it in the January letter and the May letter. So my question to the board is, would the board even entertain getting 2 of these committees going?
I think from my own personal opinion, the welcoming committee is a tough sell, only because how are you engaging these, I'm going to call them new residents, and knowing whether or not Fairway has already engaged them because they're a homeowner, or whether they're a renter and we're just guessing just because we see a moving truck out front. So from the welcoming committee thing, I'm not sure how you can logistically make that work without getting into people's business more than you probably should. As far as any other committee, I will fall back on the statement of it's very difficult to fill the committees we currently have. We just had a discussion about the ARC board, not even having enough members. We have a person that we're strongly entertaining and we've tried to meet with a couple times, and because of her breaking her foot, we haven't been able to actually physically meet with her yet, but that we're looking at possibly coming onto the board. So I don't know how we're going to fill these seats that you are suggesting. It's not that we're against them, but who's going to fill them?
Okay, that is, but before you fill the seats, the homeowners have to know whether you're willing to even entertain having an infrastructure committee. And if so, then it would be, okay, let's go find people who have a background that would be very supportive to the board and making their jobs a lot easier. But if you're not interested in it, why do we, why would we go forward to try to get people to be on this board if the board says, nah, don't even want to do that? So I just want to know, would the board entertain getting an infrastructure committee, and start with that?
Well, here's my question to you, Louisa, or excuse me, you're in the past, we'll say 5 years. Has it ever been brought up to have any of those committees? A welcoming committee, I do believe, was brought up, but has any one of those committees ever been on the board in the past 3 years?
I haven't been at all the meetings. I couldn't possibly tell you, Jim. I only want to say that I do believe that we could do this as a preventive committee, and so that it would make the job of running community for both management and the board a lot easier.
Well, I agree with that, but on the other hand, I also will say that making this community run a lot smoother will be a better comprehension and a reorganization of our covenants, because our covenants are half the battle with making our community a much better place to live. So with whatever board you have on board, no matter who is on the board, their hands are tied with these covenants, because the covenants favor the residents. So as much as we try to do things, you know as well as we do that your hands are tied at some point. So
Our hands
do
are
I think the
always
community?
But
Hold
on the
So I think-
infrastructure, Jim, I mean, when you're dealing with the pool repairs, pool pavers, the
Yeah.
ring and all of that, this is what the infrastructure committee would be dealing with. They're not dealing with the covenants unless it's against the covenants, of course. But it's just helping the board. Like when you are out flying and some paver guy wants to come, your committee could be there to meet with them. It's that easy. And,
I
I
understand that.
helpful.
I think to take what Jim is saying in a slightly different direction and maybe apply it with what you're suggesting, Muriel, I think that this HOA would be better served to have a committee that would look at our documents, go through our documents, and make suggested fixes to the things that are ambiguous, and then rally the entire community to be able to vote and get the 2/3 vote we need to now finally adjust, fix, and clarify our documents as needed. That would be the committee that I would strongly support in any direction, in any way, because that is at this point, in my opinion, the biggest problem this neighborhood has. I mean, we run into the documents being ambiguous every week. Every week we do. I mean,
Yes.
the discussion we had this morning, earlier in the meeting about the art committee and how the fence says one thing and the pool says another, and they're
Right.
fighting each other. So I would gladly suggest or take on any committee idea, but I think that we would be better served with a covenant review committee than a maintenance committee.
Well, that is wonderful to hear from the board, that you are entertaining establishing a committee so that we can take a look at all of our documents and have homeowners and board members on it and work at it to make it comprehensive. I'm all for that, and tell you what, sign me up. I would be really interested in that. So let me know when, are you going to be putting it out there?
I think we are. Me and I know I've talked personally with Louisa about it. I know I've talked personally with Jim about it. I think all three of us have talked at least once together. I believe I've talked to Clyde about it at least once. And it had been brought up even before in previous boards. So I think that we're just feeling a little overwhelmed right now with all the things on our plate, but it's something we all want. The issue that we had, was it last month, that kind of blew up on next door, reiterated that we need this resolved, and we need to approach it correctly and get it so that we can have a little more strength in our ability to enforce our documents correctly.
And we're not trying to make these documents to where we're dictators, but if you want to make the community a beautiful community and a great place to live, you have to adjust the documents. You have to make the documents what they're supposed to be, and everybody has to follow. And that's where it all starts. It doesn't start with whether we get a welcoming committee or whether we get speed bumps in or whatever. It starts with those documents have to be ready to go and fair to everybody, so we can follow it and everybody's on the same page. So if we find this guy for this, we find this guy for that. So we just have to get it on the same page, and it all starts with those documents.
All right.
So like Dan said, we've all talked, and we need to get the documents reviewed, going over, and then our next step is we got to go through the community and get the votes. So
Great.
There you have it.
Let's get it started. I think it's an important piece that needs to be done. Let's get it started.
yeah, we'll get it.
We're to the point right now with that discussion, just to kind of
Yeah.
put it out there, is that we were waiting to hear back from the lawyer, and I guess I need to send him another email of how can we, and I'm going to use this term very loosely and it's going to get misinterpreted, manipulate the vote so that we can spread it out over enough time so that we can get 2/3 of the neighborhood to vote. In other words, can we spread this vote out like you would with regular voting for early voting? And can we have up to 2 months to get everyone's vote? Do we have only a certain amount of time legally that we're allowed to get this vote,
Dan, you have
joined
90
together
days.
in one thing, so, sorry,
You have 90 days to do it.
to get the vote? We did get that answer?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
that's just standard. It just would be, so when you mail it out, you're gonna mail out proxies with it. And
Okay,
you'll have a set meeting date, and it'll be like any other proxy. That proxy will be good for 90 days from that meeting date. So
Okay.
you most likely will not get quorum at that first meeting, but it will give you a starting point of what you have. And then you'll have 90 days from that point to do your legwork to get however.
Oh,
worded.
good. Right.
okay, so at least the timeline is doable, 90 days. We
Yeah.
just have to make sure that we can meet whatever requirements are with the proxies for such a vote, So,
Sure.
yeah.
Let's do it.
And I think the best way, a good way of approaching everybody is instead of talking at everybody and then say, this is what's going on, if we kind of explain it and then, let them know we're trying to, it affects every homeowner because of their values and things like that. I'm thinking we can get a positive review out of that.
It's very important when you're changing the documents that, yes, a complete explanation is given to the homeowner so that they can feel very confident that their vote they're going in the right direction. You're absolutely right about that.
Right, thank you. And also, when we get the new sign put out front, that's gonna have a lot of information on it. So hopefully that's gonna be able to reach out and touch a lot more people because it's everybody's gonna see it going out of the gate.
Right.
So
All
I
right,
think that's gonna help also.
As I said, I will send an email tomorrow to the board and to Joy to let them know that if there is such a committee, I would like to be considered to be placed on that committee.
What's up, man? What up, brother? How you doing? Good. How about you? Good, thanks. All right, that sounds good, Mary.
Thank you.
You bet.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't?
It's loud because I'm bored, so I'm sorry.
We're bored too.
You're bored.
Hey,
too.
Jim, you want
I
to
get
mute
that.
yourself?
Why, you don't want to be a part of what I do?
No, not really. I appreciate what you do.
Fine, I
But,
can take a hint. I can take a hint.
Sorry, Jim.
That was the captain that was talking to Jim, by the way. He was flying the
Right.
plane. It was an autopilot.
All right, well, is that it then for today? Did we cover everything?
Everything's covered.
Well, I'm going to say goodnight.
All right, Mike, I make a motion, we adjourn the
Thank
meeting.
goodness.
I second.
All right,
I'm in favor. Thanks for
I'm in
participating,
favor.
everybody.
Good
good night.
night,
Good night.
guys.
Bye. Thanks, Dan.
Good night.
Thanks, Louisa. Thanks, Bud.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.